Hello and good evening. I am Aviva Lee reporting live in Jerusalem from room 552 for Israel 24/6 TV. It is just before 10:30 here on Thursday, the 21st of February 2008. Welcome to this edition of Fact Not Commentary with a recap of the military actions of the sovereign state of Israel since last Friday evening. On February 17, 2008, the official spokesperson for the Israel Defense Forces issued a report concerning a joint operation undertaken on the evening of February 16th. That military operation included soldiers from the Israel Defense Force, the Israel Defense Force Special Forces, and the Israel Air Force. At some point during that operation, hostile Arab combatants began using anti-tank missiles and small arms to fire upon Israel's soldiers. During that exchange, a member of the Israel Defense Force Special Forces was critically injured. He was immediately transported to Soroka Hospital. However, for security purposes, that soldier's identity is censored. And based upon this evening's report to me from the assistant to the hospital's spokesperson, the soldier is in stable condition, but he is still in intensive care due to injuries he received in his lower abdomen during that combat mission. He came through the initial surgery and he is presently conscious. During that same evening, in a number of clashes with hostile Arab combatants, Israel's soldiers charged with defending the sovereign state of Israel, her borders, and her citizens identified hitting an Arab gunman on the offensive. Also, during that same time frame, over 80 Arab suspects were taken for questioning in Israel by Israel's security forces who were on duty. And concerning the IDF summary issued to the press today, I can state that operations against the terrorist infrastructure in the Gaza Strip are still underway. The stated purpose of Israel's military for those operations is to distance the terrorist organizations, particularly Hamas, from Israel's security fence. The military also is steadfast in continuing their defensive operations against those hostile combatants, firing Qassam rockets and mortar shells into the sovereign state of Israel. The spokesperson's summary confirmed that this week, on a daily basis, Israel was fired upon from terrorist strongholds within Gaza. Israel's military forces involved in defensive maneuvers specifically targeted structures used by those terrorist organizations, as well as rocket and mortar launching cells and armed gunmen. And also during those joint military maneuvers, the Israel Air Force carried out several aerial attacks against hostile combatants and identified hitting those individuals targeted. In a separate incident on Monday, February 18th this week, a hostile Arab combatant, a gunman, shot at the soldiers patrolling the Israeli side of the Israel security fence. The Israeli soldiers fired back at the individual and identified hitting their target. Upon inspection by the authorized personnel, a firearm and military vest were discovered on that combatant's body. The same type of incident occurred on Tuesday, February the 19th, during an IDF operation near the security fence. Hostile Arab gunmen opened fire at Israel soldiers charged with defending the sovereign state of Israel. Those soldiers returned fire and identified hitting their Arab aggressor. And yesterday, the IDF arrested a 23-year-old Tanzim terror operative, Mr. Umar Ahmad Ali al-Badawi, during a joint IDF and ISA operation in Tulkarm in the morning. Mr. al-Badawi was involved in numerous shooting attacks and was recently planning to target Israeli civilians, and he was taken for questioning by Israel's security forces. During similar maneuvers in the Judea and Samaria regions, Israel's forces arrested 23 wanted Arab suspects, and as a result, 2 handguns and 1 prepared firebomb were uncovered during subsequent searches of buildings where those wanted Arab suspects were hiding. Earlier today, February 21st, the IDF targeted and hit an armed rocket launcher in northern Gaza in the area of Beit Hanun. And by rocket launcher, the IDF means the launching apparatus, not those terrorists manning the launcher. And concerning the quantity of mortars and Qassams Israel has endured this week, and since the beginning of 2008, the IDF spokesperson reports that in the past week more than 60 Qassam rockets and approximately 50 mortar shells were indeed fired at Israeli communities in the western Negev, and to date, since the beginning of the year, some 730 rockets and mortar shells have been fired at the sovereign state of Israel by terrorists and or their accomplices. And that concludes this recap of the military activity of the sovereign state of Israel taken this week against terror and terrorist infrastructure in the Gaza Strip. Thank you for listening, and please take a look later for my special steroid update based upon the direct comments of Officer Mickey Rosenfeld, the government press office police spokesperson. I am Aviva Lee, reporting live in Jerusalem from room 552 for Israel 24/6 TV. Again, thank you and shalom. Good night.